Good evening, members. It's 7 o'clock. Can we begin, please? Thank you. Right, good evening and welcome to this evening's joint transportation meeting on the 12th of October 2022. The fire procedure: if the fire alarm is activated, please vacate the offices via the stairs opposite the lifts in the foyer. Please do not use the lifts. Assembly in Hawley Square on the Green, and officers will assist you and advise when it is deemed safe to return to the chamber. Could everyone present please ensure their mobile phones are switched to silent and they are not used to make or receive calls in the chamber whilst this meeting is in progress. Filming of meetings: I would advise that if filming takes place, anyone in attendance in the public areas may have their image captured. I urge anyone filming proceedings to avoid filming members of the public, particularly if there are children present. Does anyone intend to film the meeting? I think not. No. Does any member wish to speak under 20.1? No, thank you. Right, agenda item 1 is apologies for absence. We have apologies from Councillor Binks. Are there any other apologies, please?
Can I just ask, have we got a KCC highways officer here tonight?
I will tell you about that very shortly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right, agenda item 2 is declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? No, thank you. Agenda item 3 is the minutes of the previous meeting. Do members agree that the minutes of the Joint Transportation Board meeting held on the 9th of June 2022 be approved and signed as a correct record? Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Scobie, seconder, Councillor Crowe. Thank you for Coburn, sorry. Thank you very much. Right. Agenda item 4. Can I just have one moment? Right, a point of interest. Paul Valek and Richard Heaps, KCC councillors, have informed us they will not be attending this meeting tonight. KCC insists on the digital attendance. However, TDC currently does not have the facilities to allow for a hybrid meeting. So that is your answer, Councillor Tonks. Right, agenda item 4 is parking and waiting review for various locations across Thanet. And I've got the lovely lady beside me, Abigail, who will go through that with you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. So this is a report and a proposal for some introductions of new parking and waiting restrictions across the area of Thanet. I will go through these, and if anyone has any points they wish to raise whilst I'm going through, please feel free. So we've got a proposal for an extension to existing double yellow lines in Hibernia Street in Ramsgate. This is just to allow access to the drive of number 2. When trying to exit to the right, due to cars parking in the lay-by, they're not able to pull out fully. So we are just extending slightly to allow clear access when exiting to the right. We have Tothill Street in Minster in Ramsgate. We are proposing to install new double yellow lines to assist with access issues for emergency services and larger waste recycling vehicles, and that is opposite 54 to 52 Tothill Street. Please bear with me, sorry, I'm just scrolling through. We have got Ayton Road in Ramsgate. We're proposing new double yellow lines on a tight band outside number 16. This is due to access issues for waste and recycling vehicles, and it is resulting in loss of collections, so that's just to improve the flow of traffic. We've also got a proposal for double yellow lines opposite the junction of St George's Road in Broadstairs. This is due to vehicles parking on the highway, the footway opposite the junction, resulting in pedestrians having to enter the road. So we're going to put double yellow lines there to prevent that. We've got Harold Road in Margate. We are extending the existing double yellow lines across the driveway of 56 in line with other residents in the area due to parking across the driveway. Herbert Place, Margate. We are going to introduce the addition of residential addresses in Herbert Place, numbers 8 to 11, to be added to our Margate West permit zone. These addresses were previously part of the High Street, but due to conversions and separation of the shop and the flat, they have now got an address of their access on Herbert Place, so they would have been entitled to a residence parking permit under the High Street. So we're just adding these addresses so that they will still be entitled to purchase a residence parking permit within the area. We will also be proposing corner protection double yellow lines on Glebe Road and Glebe Gardens in Garlinge, Margate. And we will be looking to introduce new double yellow lines in Old Boundary Road, Westgate, down the entire length of the road to improve traffic flow for residents. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. Do members have any questions or comments on the report, please? Councillor Quitterton.
Thank you, Chair. With regard to Tothill Street, Minster, now, I checked with our highways development plan this morning. We've got no knowledge of this at all, so I don't know who's put in for that. But we have got some outstanding lines that we're going to put in a place called the corner of Norton Drive and the High Street, which we've had requests from local residents for. Sorry.
Posters went out, spoke to her, but
Well, that Tothill Street.
no,
Norton Drive. As I say, but we've got no recollection at all of any request for yellow lines between 54 and 52 Tothill Street. So if we could have a bit of clarification on that at some point. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor. That request actually came to us from a member of the public, so it came directly to us in the parking office. Yeah, and we've carried out site visits as a result of that, and that's why we're bringing it to you for approval. Yeah.
Councillor Shonk.
Enforcement's okay if it's enforced. How many enforcement officers have we got? Because I do travel on the bus quite a lot. I know I don't show my age and use my bus pass, but the buses have a hell of a job to get around because of people parking on yellow lines. I see a van in Ramsgate parked on yellow lines all day. So we can have as many yellow lines as we want, but if nobody enforces it, that is the biggest problem at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Shonk. So in regards to that, we have just done a recent recruitment and we have successfully and going through the recruitment process for 2 new civil enforcement officers. So we are short-staffed at the moment, but we are working hard to enforce and increase our enforcement team. And if you have got any specifics, feel free to speak to me after, because we are working and extending our hotspot areas, and we are trying to work with public and councillors to find out those areas that are particularly issues so that we can try and be more present in them areas during our shift patterns.
Any other members? Councillor Cornford.
Thank you, Chair. With the Old Boundary Road double yellow lines down both sides, is there likely to be any review of the parking charges in that St Mildred's car park, because residents are already struggling to park anywhere near their homes, mostly due to the permitted development at the waterside site. So I was just wondering, the parking charges are quite excessive and the car park is empty rather than full most of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. At the moment, there is no plans to review the charges. They are only seasonal charges, so they are only on charge between April to October, and they're in line with some of our more sort of lower cost car parks for a 24-hour stay. But at this moment, we're not looking to review the charges there. The proposal was a request from residents in the area for double yellow lines. However, we'll see if the board would like to make any suggestions moving forward.
Thank you, Abigail. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Lewis, please.
I think this is relevant. The Limes car park, the barriers have been broken or not working on a regular basis now for over a year, the loss of revenue must be colossal, because people are parking in droves there without being charged. Has anybody looked at that situation regarding possibly returning to pay and display?
Thank you, Councillor Lewis.
Thank you. We are aware that even though the barriers have been vandalised or aren't in working order, the car park is still fully chargeable and it is still a pay-as-you-use car park. We are looking at options for that car park, and we are looking at either doing a sort of plan for the area to see how we can improve it moving forward to make it more beneficial. But unfortunately, I haven't got any more information than that at this time, because it is very early days for us looking into it. And my director, who unfortunately couldn't be here due to arranged annual leave due to the reschedule of the appointment, might have been able to offer you a bit more of an in-depth answer there. But that's, I'm afraid, we are looking into it, but we haven't decided on the avenue we're going to go down as of yet.
Sir, given that answer, could we have an update at the next JTB? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Thanks for that. Thank you. Any other? Councillor Hart.
Thank you. Just as a comment, I've brought this up before. I think the multi-storey that we can all park in round the back, you still haven't got a height restriction notice on that. So, and I have brought that up before at other meetings, and I think it's about time we actually put a height restriction on there. If I'm wrong, I'm happy to be corrected. But I went in there the other day, and I don't use it very often, but there's still no height restriction marking. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hart. Councillor Tonks.
Well, I might as well ask these questions while I'm here, and I'm trying to represent Ramsgate. In the summer months, and even now, you've got illegal parking along the harbour arm. They're all in Wetherspoons, high performance cars. It's quite clearly a sign that says you're only allowed to park there if you're fishing. These cars are not fishing. It's a loss of revenue. It's all along that harbour arm. Goes on daily, everywhere. You've got two types of car parks there. You've got the one that's outside the Maritime Museum, which is chargeable. You've got the normal charging along the road. But this harbour arm, they just go along there at quite a speed. And these cars are not fishing, they're just parking freely. I just wonder whether you can have a look at that sometime. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Can I just clarify, sorry, are you talking about the Ramsgate Harbour Arm? Because you are for Ramsgate, yeah. I will come back to you with an update on that, because that is managed by different departments, so I can look into that.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Abigail. Any other members? Okay, the recommendation is that, subject to the views of the board, the shown in Appendix 1 are approved, and the proposals which require statutory consultation and the proposals which as are advertised, and that any traffic-related objections are reported back to a future meeting of the board. North Down Road, Margate. I haven't got a KCC council officer here, so do members have any questions or comments on the report, please?
Thank you. How do I formally complain that the Director of Highways and Transportation is refusing to meet this committee? Thanks.
Any members which wish to have a question, officer will be taking your question, and they will go to the officer who is...
As KCC, I bring it up continuously. I can't see any problem why they can't turn up. I know the chap concerned, I don't name his name. He's a good chap when we can get hold of him. So I used to bring it up all the time, and at the moment I'm just hitting a brick wall. It doesn't help me. I've got a whole raft of issues I can't deal with, and we're KCC.
Unfortunately, it's nothing I can do about it. I'm very sorry about that. This is the situation we've got at the moment. It's all stemmed from COVID. We are all back here, as you can see, and why the officers can't be here, I don't understand. David Hart.
Thank you. We have local officers here. Can they tell us when you can actually do a hybrid meeting, so maybe they could actually attend? Is it possible? Will it happen? Can it happen?
We have a hybrid meeting. We can have live streaming for members of the public, and that is the reason we cannot do both. So the one time when we did have a hybrid, we had a virtual meeting for KCC officers. We couldn't have the live streaming for members of the public, and so we're in a very difficult situation again because members of the public like to be on the live stream. So that is the issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I do understand the reasoning with the hybrid and the live streaming. Would it be possible for this committee to suggest to TDC that they upgrade their system so that it could be we could have live streaming and hybrid? That would solve the problem.
I'm sure they have thought about that, but I will go over to my officers beside me here and ask him if they're or to Charles behind who may have a solution. All right. Over to you, Charles.
Thank you, Chair. This is something that we can bring forward to Nick to put together some kind of some initial thoughts as to the costs involved in upgrading our system. But from the initial discussions that we had, it looks like there is some substantial amounts of money that will be involved in putting together an upgrade for the system. And more so that I think the council had already funded the upgrades that we currently that we are currently using. So we can still take it back to Nick and possibly to the CMT to see whether there is a way forward. But in the meantime, I suppose the board can, through the chair, this chair or the substantive chair, engage the cabinet member for transport from KCC to see if they can agree to getting us back to the arrangements we used to have prior to COVID arrangements, because we used to meet in person and we used to get support from KCC officers. So this is something I think that would need some kind of a push from the board through the chair.
Thank you, Charles. I must add that Councillor Binks, who would be chairing this meeting today, has actually spoken with KCC to the member officer who's in whoever's portfolio this is, and allegedly he wasn't very helpful at one stage, but they have been told, allegedly, that they can come if they wish. And I don't know if any other KC councillors...
I'm here. I can give you more information because I've asked that question directly to the cabinet member, and his answer was negative, to say the least. He said he didn't want to instruct the officers to come to the meeting. So there's negativity, and the blame lies entirely with the cabinet member for highways at KCC. It's not anything to do with the individuals who could come, but they've been instructed, as far as I know, not to come.
So you are saying they are actually told they shouldn't come?
That's what his reply in the public
is. It's their choice.
Well, that was our...
They can't come. It's just that they don't want to come.
No, well, I'm only quoting what was said in public at the council meeting that I asked the question. I'm sure the other members from the KCC remember me asking that question, and there was negativity. What happened after that question, I'm not privy to, but I can only say what was said in public to me when I asked a direct question.
Thank you, Councillor Lewis. I've just got to say that Councillor Binks, who is the chairman, actually did speak with a cabinet member who told her that they could come if they so wish. But obviously you... Councillor Scholz,
can I just say...
KCC.
All the committee that sit here deserve to be listened to, and the residents. So I do feel that it's absolutely appalling that we've got a cabinet member of my party that isn't, well, he's not in the with the real world. It's appalling that all of us got questions and answers, but because we haven't got nobody here, I mean, I could get up and I didn't storm off last time, but I just made a point of being at Maidstone all day, get home, have a cup of tea, and come out like all of us to try to get some of these issues resolved, and we're just hitting a brick wall. So.
Thank you, Councillor Shantz. Councillor Brown.
Yeah, Chair, I think I understand what Charles is saying, that we should try and talk to Cabinet. It isn't going to work. The Cabinet member, as the others have said, has stuck his heels in, and he's not got the appetite to let the officers come out. So, but all the time he comes back to our inefficient IT systems. He'd be quite happy to let them take part in a hybrid. That's why I've suggested that we formally try and do something about it.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. The thing is, we haven't, why can't they come? We're all here, sitting here today. I can't understand why. COVID, we aren't all sitting with masks either. So, this is a joint transportation meeting, and they should be here, unless there's a really good reason. So we're all very upset and annoyed about it, but we don't appear to be able to do anything about it. And as Charles has told us, it's very costly to upgrade. It's already been upgraded in order that we can get as far as we can go, but for the live streaming, etc. But, where do we go from here?
Yeah, a couple of the reasons given was the distance travelled, and some attended planning meetings and got abuse. But in terms of our officer, he lives 3 miles up the road. Yeah.
I was exactly going to say that, but he does. He doesn't live very far, so that's no excuse. I've got Councillor.
Can I just say that maybe we take a collective decision not to progress any decision on any KCC motion or item on the agenda if no one wants to come in and talk to us about it.
Okay, we can make the decision if you want to defer, if we all feel that we really do need these members, officers here, we can defer the meeting. It's very, there are lots of questions that need to be answered, and even if we have a virtual meeting, you cannot really get your answers over as when you've got face-to-face here. So if members are agreeable, we will defer these the next two items, agenda item 5 and agenda item 6, are both the KCC. So are there any members that obviously don't agree with that decision?
I've got reservations because, for example, I've got a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit consultation that's been passed and has to just come for ratification at the next meeting possibly. So I'm a bit wary going down this path because things that the residents want aren't going to be able to carry on because we've deferred it indefinitely until we get a new cabinet member, basically. So I'm a bit hesitant.
I think it would make a point.
Yeah, you need to make that message needs to be relayed to your cabinet member, doesn't it?
Oh, it's not my cabinet member.
I thought you were a KCC councillor. Yeah,
no, I'm a different party. That's what I meant. But I'm a bit wary going down that because the public will suffer
Councillor
Thanks.
Yates, sorry.
Just to add my thoughts and concerns. So it's more of a comment, but at the last meeting, we made recommendations to look at 20 mile an hour. If you look at this report in front of us, it says the scheme was endorsed by Thanet Joint Transport Board in June, makes no reference to our recommendations, and further down in the consultation actually causes discussions of 20 mile an hour noise, in quotes. So I feel like we're being disrespected in the report as well, as having no officer here tonight.
Disrespecting the reports. Where do we stand? We've got, obviously, Councillor Lewis wants to carry on. But no, not actually carry on, you want...
I didn't say that. I just said I had reservations.
Reservations, sorry. Can we defer the meeting then with reservations? Because it's... I won't quite know what to do with myself personally. We've had instructions from...
I think we just make a proposal to defer the items until the next meeting, and as simple as that. And then, again, if we have to, we defer them again. It's not difficult. I mean, if KCC wish to pay for a hybrid meeting, then and pay for our way to do it, if they can't, then maybe they have to send their officers. It's their shout at the end of the day. It's the ball's in their court. And I mean, you know, we all know who the cabinet member is, and he really just needs to sort this out. And if he doesn't want to, then maybe we need to talk to the chair of Kent County Council, the leader, and go from that way and go above his head.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hart. So we would...
Can I just say, I'm watching Abigail, and she's kind of like the pawn in the middle of all this. This is can I just make it clear that this is not it's no reflection on your work, and I know you've put a lot of work in, and I think could we minute that
would suggest that we have already actually been through the parking. That has already been,
Yeah,
we've already
yeah,
have a proposer and a
yeah.
seconder, so we haven't, that is not an issue for Abigail, that's all been done.
Yeah, I'd just like to make
It's
sure
just-
that
it's
she
just
understands,
KCC.
because
It's just the KCC.
she's looking very lost there and wondering what she's going to say say tomorrow. But it's no reflection on yourself.
Can I make a proposal?
Please, if you would.
Thank you, Acting Chair. So item 4 on the agenda 5 says members are asked to note the contents of the report and the consultation report with a recommendation to proceed with the proposed measures. I'd like to make a proposal that we don't make that recommendation without being able to question the KCC officers.
We've done agenda item 4, we're on agenda item 5 and 6.
In number 4 on agenda item 5 is the recommendation.
Yeah, we have done that. We have had a proposer and a seconder on that one. On agenda item 4 for parking.
No, agenda item 5.
Now, agenda item 5 is now what we've got to do. 5 and 6 we've got to do. Haven't we? Sorry, where are we?
Item 4 was parking.
We've done item 4 parking. I'm confused.
Agenda item 5.
Sorry. Okay, can I have a seconder for that, please?
Seconded.
Thank you, Councillor Scobie. Thank you, members. And
Can I speak on the motion?
pardon?
Can I speak on the motion, please? When we made this decision, can we forward that decision to the Kent County Council, Cabinet Member and Leader of the Council, and given the reasons why?
Absolutely.
So if that is agreed as an
Do members
addendum...
agree? The members all agree? I'm sure you all do, yeah. Thank you. Right, so that concludes the business for this evening. Thank you for your attendance.